This week's episode of Gallery Watch. My name is Robert Buratti, and as we come into the busier end of the art industry calendar, Gallery Watch is taking a closer look at its local West Australian art scene via 3 separate artists and exhibition interviews this week. The first is the local artist Corinne Barton, and we'll be speaking with her at a Peppermint Grove studio about her latest body of work. Annette Searing will be taking us through.
Welcome to Gallery Watch. This time we're here at Peppermint Grove to go and take a look at one of our local artists in their home studio. The artist's name is Corinne Barton. How you start out life as an artist?
I can remember when I was really young. I think I was maybe 5 or 6. My parents had a really big book. I think it was the Reader's Digest book of great artists of the world. There were Mondrian's and Clay's and Leonardo da Vinci's beautiful paintings, and I can remember looking at this book and just thinking, these things are amazing. I was so excited to see these things. And then when I was 8, my parents gave me my first set of oil paints. And I was lucky enough to have a friend of mine from school. Her mum was an artist, and she was Dutch, and she was trained in the very traditional methods of painting. So she took me under her wing about that time. When I was in Melbourne after school, I did a teaching degree at Melbourne Teachers College, and I did a painting major. As part of my studies, I had the opportunity to go to London to do some study under quite a well-known artist at the time, a fellow called William Delafield Cook. At the end of Teachers College, and at the end of having this wonderful experience of studying under this world-famous and very highly, beautifully technical person who could do wonderful stuff, I was a little overawed, and I came back from it thinking, I don't think I'm ever going to paint again. And to get back into art again and back into painting, I actually decided that a way to do it was to go in through the back door through a different medium. So to approach it through doing 3D work. So it was a way of getting back into the painting.
So what are you working on here?
And this is a painting of the Berkeley River in the Kimberleys. I've been working on this for a year now. It's a painting that I bring up to a certain level of finish. Then I have to stop it, and I have to sort of think where I want to go with it. It's just a joyful thing to do. It takes me 15 minutes to get into what I'm doing, and then I'm sort of just lost in all the spaces. And as I paint them, they draw me into the subject. After I've been working on for a while, I stand back and I have a look, and they almost paint themselves.
Do you begin with an outline of the painting first before?
I start blocking in the basic shapes of what the composition's going to be, and I have an idea of what the colours are going to be, and bit by bit the painting takes shape. And as time goes on, as I progress with the painting, I can actually get up very close to the painting, and the actual finished shapes and forms and rocks start emerging, and I paint them in as I see them. And that is the joyful moment of the painting.
The size of the painting is quite overwhelming, would you say? It's quite big.
I like the large scale also primarily because when they are large, you can get lost in them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a sort of a scale that relates to the human body.
Now, when you're painting, you paint landscapes as well as portraiture. So how do you go from the face of the earth to the face of a human?
I think that when you actually paint a portrait, what you see in the face is very similar to what you see on the land when you look close into it. For instance, I've got a portrait here, which I think kind of demonstrates that. This is a portrait of Ben Kropp, who is an adventure documentary maker. I ended up having the wonderful opportunity of making adventure documentaries with him. We did a trip which left from Port Douglas. We went right up around the Cape York Peninsula, down the other side into the Gulf of Carpentaria. So we've done it twice. Each trip goes for 4 weeks. So at that time we're just totally out on the ocean. We take enough food to last half the time, and the rest of the time we actually have to get the food out of the ocean. When I do a portrait, I don't try and paint an eye, I don't try and paint a nose, I don't try and paint teeth. I actually rather like painting the landscapes when you get up close and the shapes and patterns emerge. You've got one tone against the other. It's the same thing with the face. You forget, the actual different little bits and pieces that make up the person. You just go into in depth at the surface level of how they look.
What's this painting called?
This painting is called Early Morning on the Hunter Creek, and it is taken at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and this is a location up on the Cape York Peninsula. We were making an exploration to the Hunter Falls.
Right.
No one had been there by land before, so it was actually an official exploration, and we had to go through the water to get to where the falls were, and there were crocodiles in the water, and we had to swim. It was over our head in certain spots.
Oh, no.
But we ended up naming the waterfall, which is called the Freedom Falls.
After such a scary experience with the crocodile, weren't you inspired to paint a crocodile in your paintings?
Yeah, actually I was, and I do have a crocodile painting in the house.
Let's go and have a look.
This is a very big saltwater crocodile, probably about 3 metres long, and we are going along in a little dinghy, and we're about 3 metres from it. And while I was painting it, it was really interesting to see that the crocodile obviously knew that we were there and that we were coming, because at the time what a crocodile does is he just sits there and he doesn't move, and he just looks like he's never going to move at all, but they can just take off with incredible speed.
So this painting is very interesting as it's one of the biggest in the house. Tell me the story of this one.
Well, this is another one of the Kimberley series of paintings. This one is called Reflections on the King George River. It also has another title, a tongue-in-cheek title, but it's called Through the Eyes of the Crocodile, because actually it's painted from the eyes of a crocodile. Here I am, this is the crocodile. The crocodile is actually from here, looking out across. So the crocodile is sitting on a bank here, sunning himself, looking across to the other side.
Do the paintings hold kind of an importance to you because of how long it's taken for you to paint them, the memory that's involved?
In a way, the joy and the connection to the painting is actually while it's being painted. And when it's finished, that element's over. So, in the end, it's not really the finished piece, it's the actual going through the process. And it's a little bit like doing sand sculpture. People that do sand sculptures, they create something and then it's created for the moment and then it dissolves.
Well, thank you very much, Corinne, for letting us have a look around your home studio, and good luck in your new exhibition coming up. And I'll be seeing you after the break.